can't do it. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Ask Mathis. I'm your host, Reggie Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother Wild Man Teddy T, a.k.a. Baron Theo Mound-builder. What it do, bro?
What's happening? What's happening?
Man, the world is upside down if you ask some people. Just as it should be as he asks others. So what say you, sir?
You know, I'm really starting to see a lot of different, this Don Lemon thing really got me the other day. And how the lady, Georgia, how she let the people come in to the house and she was on the phone the whole time and how they was dealing with her. It's like, that was really real for anybody. You know, these guys supposed to have freedom of speech and can do all these things, but you see them.
So it's not even, I'm glad you say that. Because, you know, Ask Mathis, we try to make sure folks get the facts as it is. So it's not so much, it's the First Amendment, and freedom of speech is contained within the First Amendment.
Right.
But also is freedom of the press. So the issue with Don Lemon and the other folks who were arrested in Minnesota, the young lady vlogger, is that they are under the freedom of press, and that is the issue. The folks who arrested them are saying that they are not journalists, that they are activists, therefore not worthy or eligible of the journalist protection, because the reason why two magistrates failed to sign off on the warrant presented to them by the Justice Department is because they were like, what are you talking about? Don Lemon, 20-year CNN, he's not a journalist. Like, are you? Right. What are y'all talking about? I'm not signing that. I'm not affixing my name to that. But the Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office, presented it to a grand jury. Now, I would love to be on a fly on the wall in that grand jury to see what was presented, because the saying is, you can indict a ham sandwich. Like, it is not a very high standard or a high bar, and so you see how bad the cases, those politically motivated cases against Letitia James, against Jim Curry, against the governor, the sister governor on the Fed, you know, coming after like all these folks, your political enemies, are not getting even the grand jury to sign off on it. And that's, like I said, that's not a really, really high standard. So the fact that they were failing even with the grand jury, but here they went to two magistrates, two judges, and both judges was like, nah, man, we ain't even, that's BS. So they went to the grand jury. I would love to see what was presented. So I think what was likely presented is that they probably, or they may have showed some cherry pick some things that they were saying, which maybe convinced the grand jury that they were trespassers, you know, coming into the place at the church, coming into this place without permission, specifically to egg on what was going on, and saying like they're trying to do like some type of shock jock stuff, and that they because another count is conspiracy. Right. So they saying that Don Lemon conspired. So you know how you have those folks, and it's mainly been on the right, who have gone and done these like fake, you know, camera and go to a place like you had the guy who went to Minnesota and was like he went to all these different Somali daycares and no daycares was going on, whatever. And when they investigated and went behind him, there was like Buddy was going during hours that they was off, closed, not operating, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So they basically saying like, you know, this was that on Don Lemon and the young lady's part, is that they were there, but it's not going to pass the smell test like with Don Lemon, especially, and then I'm going to let you go, especially when you look at the congresswoman, and I sent that to you, Step. I don't know if you have it. The congresswoman from Texas, who, well, no, she's not a congresswoman, but she's running for Congress from Texas, a Colombian lady. Yes, boom, this lady right here. So this lady right here, they failed to arrest her, Valentina Gomez, for disrupting an LGBTQ friendly church service. So she was sitting in, if you had a video, she's sitting in the back of the church and they having service, and then she just gets up and basically like, y'all abomination, like all this stuff. And the same thing happened in Pastor Jamal Bryant's church. Pastor Jamal Bryant's church, a guy got up, looking like what's the guy that the Revolt back in the day, the Nat Turner.
Nat Turner Revolt.
But what was the white guy they had the movie about? We had the beard, John. You know what I'm talking about.
John Brown.
John Brown, right?
John Brown.
So the guy looking like John Brown, and he shows up and just gets up, and and Pastor Bryant's people, they just get him out of the church, right? So they calling for their arrest. Like, Justice Department, why we picking and choosing? Like, and if you look at it, you tell me the difference. Go ahead and play it, my brother.
Oh, this is a different story.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought Step was on it.
No, I couldn't find it.
So, I mean, if you look at it, and we hate to talk about whataboutism, but one of those things is when you really trying to start a civil war, you really go and show like, well, what's the difference between this and that? They not on your team, so we can arrest them, humiliate them. And then on top of that, Don Lemon was like, when we caught wind that they might be trying to indict me, my lawyer called and was like, bro, when you want me to come in? When y'all want him to come in? But instead, they went to L.A., they hired, all his staff to go there and get him from, like, his hotel after, like, the Grammy party that he attended, the night before the Grammys, out there in L.A., to run with that, right? So what does that say? That people want the whole circus. They want the publicity. They want this stuff out there. And I just wanted to stop, man, because it's, we diverting resources from what's really going on. We really need to be talking about, the end, the expiration of the START Treaty. How about that? Why ain't nobody talking about that, bruh? The START Treaty, which is, which has been governing like nuclear proliferation between the U.S. and Russia. Now there's no agreement, which means they can, produce as many nuclear weapons as they want right now, and we can do the same, which would start, an arms race, a nuclear arms race.
Wasn't there one in the 80s like that before?
Bro, that's what I'm saying. We've had these treaties have been in place since the 80s, and that's what's going on. When they first negotiated the treaty, it was like to go in there and destroy, the existing stockpile, to limit the existing stockpile, or to say, okay, if you build this new, arms system or whatever, you have to destroy this other stuff, because when you look at it and you look at the number of nuclear weapons that the Soviet Union, the United States have, we have enough between just the two countries, and no one even mentioning China, North Korea, India, Pakistan, France, Britain, Israel, all these other nations that have nuclear weapons. But just between the United States and Russia alone, we have the capacity to destroy the world like over 100 times.
Just they could do that with one bomb. One bomb could actually destroy the world. They found that out in the 60s.
Because of the fallout.
The hydrogen bomb.
And so when you look at that, like that's what's going on. And Vladimir Putin suggested that we extend it for a year, and we didn't, take him up on it. And they've been talking about these different bombs that they have, these different systems that they have that travel, that can be delivered on these ICBMs, these intercontinental ballistic systems, right? That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
The delivery mechanism to get it to a place. So Russia is touting that they have the ability to get it, at the speed of sound that can't even be defended. Like, you can't even stop it. Like, it's like some WWE stuff that they talking like you can't even stop it. It's at the speed of sound. It's coming. You know what I mean? By the time we do it, 20 minutes later, boom, boom, bye, bye. It's a wrap. So it's a lot of distractions going on. This thing about Epstein, bruh, with the 3 million things that have gone out, 3 million leaks that have gone out, and it's just a slow and steady leak, and you keep finding, your person. It makes you think about people different. Bill Gates, the royal family. Now there's a whole investigation that's just been opened up in Poland, because they like the Polish royal family is somehow involved in it. The second prominent person just had to resign. The ambassador from England had to resign like 2 days ago, coming up in the Epstein files. Prince Andrew was stripped of all his stuff. Do you think these people are stripping themselves like of their titles, they cribs, like they stripped them of all? If it was nothing to see there, Teddy, those people like, man, that's all. Like, that's how I'm taking it. Like, man, that's all I'm gonna get. That's it.
But that's just so it don't go no place else. You're not getting humiliated, and you're not going to jail. That's you got to become a pauper.
But that's what I'm saying. but we see this going on over there about something that happened over here, and we're seeing, like, brother, the former prime minister of Australia's daughter, they showing like her leaving like Epstein's crib in New York with Prince Andrew, like at the door, like was there at the same time, bro. Bill Gates.
Yeah, and this is in their inner circle. These are their rituals, their ritual parties.
I was getting ready, and I was trying to set you up. I was trying to set you up, and as Teddy T has been saying, it's part of the rituals.
It's the rituals. It's how they do it. It's the inner circles, and they do all the things on the inside for checks and balances. So if anybody tries to get too big, they can drop the videos on you. They can discredit you. So you have to go through these, and it's just now. It's like somebody's shaking the tree. You know how you shake the tree, and whoever can stay, and whoever fall.
I think what I'm seeing, bruh, especially out of the administration, and I think that's why, because it's like, man, why did all these CEOs and billionaires get behind Trump? Remember the first time he ran, it was like, man, he's a failed businessman. 7 bankruptcies. You're never good about his money. Nouveau riche. Like he not the guy. But then you see like all the folks lining up to contribute millions for the inauguration. Then they're set up to contribute tens of millions towards the East Wing. That's gonna be this new ballroom. You like everybody is putting up, like all the former opponents and adversaries, Amazon, all these folks are lined up. Elon Musk, they all lined up to get this man tens of millions of dollars, you know, to do this, man. Millions and billions of dollars coming from overseas people. You know, all these things going on, and I think they put up that bread because I think they felt like Trump is one of their own. Like he is like we none of us really liked him. We didn't like how he was out there, and we was like, man, this dude can really expose us, but he somehow got into our damn circle. He somehow got into our circle, and this guy, he ran. Go back to 2015, leading up to the 2016 election, when you had like 17 Republican presidential candidates. You had all the traditional senators, couple governors, you know, who these guys are. They all lined up, and you got Trump. Like, where basically he, you know, Chris Christie is shooting you down, telling you you don't know foreign policy. And then, you know, all these folks, Jeb Bush, you know, was a popular governor and was leading in the polls before he got in, and he came in with over $100 million, and Trump destroyed him. Destroyed him, bro. Destroyed him. Like, Jeb should have. I remember one debate. I was like, man, Jeb should have walked over to him and had to be separated from him. That was the only way he was gonna be able to come back. That was gonna be the
give him an elbow.
That was like
give
you was
him
gonna
a
have to
shoulder
walk.
lean.
You was gonna have to walk over there, and the security's gonna have to come on the stage because he insulted him. He and his family.
Yeah.
He insulted he and his family, just like basically called the man a vagina, but with a P. And Jeb just sitting up there trying to treat them traditionally, like, hey, you know, we don't get mad, we don't show our anger, you know, but he came with a whole different style. But one thing that resonated with me that he said all of these guys, they all the same. Democrats, Republican. Then he started naming names. He looked down at Lindsey Graham. He said Lindsey Graham, and he published his number. Like he was probably the first presidential troll who published Lindsey Graham's phone number. Lindsey Graham is sitting there like not knowing how to what is this is so unprofessional. This is not dignified. This is like all the traditional things that would work. Bruh, it was like, you wimp. He was like a movie. He was a movie like Joanna Man. Trump in a bull in a china shop. He came in and it was must-see TV. Like, what is he gonna do? Little Marco with his hands. Little Marco, like bringing this stuff up. And then when Marco tried to come back and was like, hey, I looked at your hands and your hands are pretty small. You know, when the Cuban man came back at him, it looked like he was bullying. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Like, it wasn't flattering. And Marco couldn't do it. Like, he tried to come back with that, you know, South Miami, Coral Ridge High, you know, Cuban humor. And it was like, nah. That ain't
gonna work.
You can't go at it with him. He the old white guy. You can't do that to him. It's like come and just beat the man up. You can't come beat up everybody. You can't beat everybody up
at all.
But when he said they all the same, they all beg me for money. He said Lindsey Graham calling me, asking me, you know, how can I get more FaceTime on Fox News? I really want to be on Fox News. Lindsey Graham just sitting there. He like, wow. Like, dang, man, ain't no secrets. Like, nah.
Not right now.
Not right now. Nah. And then he was like, and Hillary and them, you know, they attended the wedding, like one of his weddings, and he attended like Chelsea's wedding and all that. He's like, man, they always asking for money. They always asking for money. When he came out and said it like that, I know it resonated with me to basically say they all the same.
Mm-hmm.
They not interested in helping you. They only interested in staying in power with this whole deep state, and they all a part of it, but they don't care about you. I run businesses. I'm only doing this because so many people were saying our country is so bad and such in the toilet. Mr. Trump, you're the only one that can fix it, right? And he's taking on that persona, and people are roll with him enough to be like, he's the guy from Apprentice. You're fired. You're fired. The guy that's in control of the room. The guy that walks in. Number of gorgeous women and successful people behind me, and I'm going to evaluate this thing, and if you're not up to the task, you're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Bruh, that became a, that became a thing. Mm-hmm. And folks was like, yeah, man, it'd be cool to have him come fix it. If Christopher Reeves, before his accident, if he had that mentality, he could have done this. Because we already saw that Ronald Reagan did it. And Ronald Reagan wasn't even, a A-list actor. But he was able to come in and bring that swag, which people want to see. Like he's some wrestler. He played football in college. Then he was an actor. He's all this stuff. All that stuff was Hollywood. He put this whole thing together. So our nation has always been one where we want a hero.
Drama.
We want a hero. We want drama. We want to see the crash. And
Greek was like Greek dramas is all it is.
Right. The tragedy.
The tragedies at the end. The rise and the fall.
You want to see the rise and the fall. Great point.
It's like I told you guys from before we were starting with Trump. It's a thing called plus ultra. Plus ultra is the new game that, like on the back of his seat in Mar-a-Lago, is the plus ultra sign. Plus ultra goes back to King Charles from Spain. And this is what all of these rituals, all these things go back to all of these older elements that kept them in power for what they feel is in power. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting to see how they're fighting within, and then who is, because when you look at the Middle East now, where Iran is, and like Iran used to be a major threat. Are they still a major threat? When there was war in the Middle East, now they got the commercial that said Trump created peace in the Middle East. You know what I mean? It's like the narratives, know. So like with Plus Ultra, to me, it's like we're going beyond this point. This is where America's been. Like you had inventors that were supposed to be in Plus Ultra in the beginning. It was supposed to be all the inventors. So now you got inventors into billionaires now. All of these people would faction themselves to be elitists, you know what I'm saying, to be even gods to a degree, you know what I'm saying, because of the elements that they control. So now they're going to the point to they're pushing the bar, you know what I mean, because we've been living in this constitutional democracy all this time, and it only works when necessary, because we don't really have a democracy all the time, only when it's for voting and certain things. But right now, Donald Trump is taking what is called sovereignty, and he's pushing to the limit. He's like, I can do this.
I mean, when you talk about, to your point, when you talk about the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, and it specifically says elections are the province of the states,
because that's what makes them sovereign. They can control it.
It's not even, there's no ambiguity, like, to it.
He say,
and he's just
15
like,
states. It's nationalized.
Y'all can't do it. He's like, y'all ain't doing it right, and especially when you only point out the black cities, like Atlanta. He talking about Atlanta, Detroit. Philadelphia. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yep. And maybe it's because we are the cage birds, Maya Angelou's book, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings.
I wonder if these are the states that have the most...
The canary. I meant the canary in the coal mine.
I wonder if they're the ones that have the most mail-in ballots. because that's what he's really blocking is mail-in ballots, because mail-in ballots is real people. It's like anything on the computer to me can be hacked, but the mail-in ballots be the real people. That's the real voting process. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the whole thing about purging voter rolls, like, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. You know, certain things I'm not necessarily opposed to. Like, I'm not opposed to IDs for voting. Like, you can't fly nowhere. You can't do anything without an ID. Like, you gotta have an ID. So I'm not dying on that hill.
And I agree that unless immigrants shouldn't be able to vote. Unless your children, if your children are born in America,
then
you
gotta
can
be
vote.
only citizens allowed to vote.
Right. If your child is born in America, then they can vote
when they're 18.
Right.
Yeah, but you can't vote.
But you can't vote.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with securing the border. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with deporting gang members, murderers, rapists. Fine with that. Like, I don't want to hear anybody, you know, standing in the way of some rapist, murderer, you know, being sent back wherever. Like, wherever. I'm not, I don't have an issue with that. But the way in which you're going about it, in terms of just hitting the block and we're just gonna terrorize as many people. So I think what it is, bruh, is that fear factor, that wow factor, that bang. Like, we're gonna hit y'all so hard right now that y'all gonna self-deport. Remember, people was laughing when folks was like, well, people are gonna self-deport. Well, if you really take it to its, you know, logical conclusion, what self-deportation, the way you get self-deportation is you starve a person. You starve them. You know, there's nothing for you here. If you go you show up at the emergency room, you're not a citizen, you're not here legally, you're not going to get any medical treatment. But that's not the case. That's if anybody goes to, you know, a hospital emergency room of a public hospital, you have to treat them. Right? So you starve them out, like, through the economy. Like, if you go paperless, for instance, and the only thing you can come in is have an EBT card or a debit card or a credit card or something like that, and it's tied. If everything ends up being tied to citizenship or your status, you literally starving a person. You're starving them. You know, I think that's cruel, but I'm not even adverse to that. Like, if you have a facility that's for immigrants, like, you know what? If you ain't legit or whatever, you gotta go here.
Yeah.
You gotta go here, and they gotta patch you up, but they're gonna send you here. You know, like, the whole notion of sanctuary cities, which they're trying to characterize Minneapolis as a sanctuary city, but what I heard between the governor and the Tim Walz, remember, was a vice presidential running mate for Kamala Harris, so you know he's a target. You know, they look at him worse than they look at her, because they look at him as the white male sellout, the same way they looked at, you know, white clergymen or white folks who came down for the freedom rides during the civil rights movement, called them in lovers, you know, because those are the ones who really turned it for America and the world at large, seeing those images of, and that's what happened in Minneapolis. Like, we're still, the same narrative is on repeat. A white female American citizen got shot 3 times point blank, like one of those ninjas. Like, that's supposed to be reserved for a ninja. And then you turn around and a 37-year-old nurse, white male from the VA's hospital.
Now, did you see the footage that he encountered with them
when
first?
He kicked 11 days earlier, kicking out the
light.
The light.
You know what I'm saying? So now, to me, he's targeted. He's targeted now.
If I would agree if something comes out that from 11 days he was put on some type of watch because he was out there all the time.
He was out there all the time.
But I'm saying if they knew that, I haven't seen the intelligence where the ones who shot him knew that. Like from what I've seen about them, that they weren't the ones who were there. Remember, they brought in 3,000 people. They surged 3,000 people into Minneapolis.
He broke a light. He like breaking a light is like touching a dog to them. Like that's like
they surged 3,000 people. And to your point, if it comes out that he was like on a list, if he was on a, like they put like be on the lookout for this guy, or this guy's a professional agitator, he's Acorn or one of these other groups that they fear or whatever, then saying that he was targeted, whatever, but I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Like, to me, how else would that guy know to go and get that gun, and why would he know where to go get the gun? They
was all struggling with the guy.
Yeah, but the dude came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they was all
and he went right to get the gun, and he pulled out and he left. And then they start shooting.
They were all struggling with the guy. It was all, and that may come out.
That's what I'm saying. The guy came in there after they was struggling.
That may come out. That somebody who was on that scene, someone who was on that scene may have said, "Hey, this that same guy." And look, when we saw in some of the footage that his gun was visible,
because you see
11 days earlier.
It was right there. It was on the side.
The gun was visible 11 days earlier. If that was the case, if that turns out to be the case, then he was murdered. Then that was premeditated murder, because you knew and used that as an excuse, and they came in there and took that gun away when it was never brandished. It was never pulled out or whatever, never like reached back or anything like that. So if anybody knew, and like I said, I think it's bad enough without them knowing or saying, "Oh, this that same guy." But if anybody on the scene knew, then I think that was absolute murder. That's premeditated murder right there. And they was like, bam, we got him. Because he's out here, we got him. It's just a way. What we always say, if you like fires, become a fireman. If you like murder, become a cop. Become a cop.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, come on. Because you can't touch them. They want to be like, they don't want nobody to approach them. They don't want nobody to do anything. Any type of weakness is a weakness. So this guy busted the lamp, and now you come back, it's the same guy again. Like, oh, come on, man. That's not.
Yo, this is gonna be his last time. It's about to be his last time.
It was after the lady. They pushed the lady down.
They pushed the lady so hard. I was like, oh man, we got the golden unicorn. You the unicorn. We've been looking for you.
We're gonna use you.
We've been looking for you. We've been looking for you, Mr. Tough Guy. We've been looking for you, tough guy. So, bruh got this Epstein file. The U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Earl Anthony Wayne, impregnated an 11-year-old girl. DNA results showing the child was 100% his. He is currently a professor at American University. And Larry Summers, the former Secretary of the Treasury, he had to give up all his roles at Harvard. So these things are definitely, coming out, and Trump is right now, he feeling bad. He feeling bad because these are all his dudes. And these all of dudes that paid to get him empowered, that he's supposed to protect them all, and he's like, I can control them, but he can't control it. Like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the other folks, they not with it. They not with it, bro.
It's like it's a split on the inside. There's some people that he got to look out, but other people are lame ducks. And the lame duck ones are the ones that's getting sacrificed, and then now they're making deals with them. It's like consolidation, you know. It's like all these times, you know, when you watch these different king movies between France and Germany, there's always bigger consolidations, you know.
I'm waiting to see who gets sacrificed.
Somebody is.
I think right now everybody waiting on Kristi Noem. They thought like Bovini would be enough, but Bovini ain't enough. Bovini not enough.
Charlie Chris was definitely one. Not is that one? No, Kirk. Charlie Kirk. He definitely was a sacrifice.
Wow.
He definitely was, because it's not his whole situation. This ain't even adding up, and they let him bleed on TV like that live. That was definitely a sacrifice.
Man, I mean, when you say it like that, and then when you think about it, it don't sound as crazy as it does when it first come out your mouth. Like, when you think about it, you're like, especially when you look at who's jumped in and that's running,
doing everything,
the organization now.
It's just bananas.
Like how they just
Come
like,
on.
all right, like bam. You know, boy.
They doing too much, and they're getting away with it because of the narratives. And we're not looking over that now. Just, you know, think about the kids and the wife. That's the problem. Those are the two problems. Like, all this stuff is just like, come on, man. You can't believe it's happening like this in this age.
So, you know, Ryan Wesley Rao, who had the little nest at the Palm Beach Golf Club, he just got that life sentence. You know, but, you know, based on his age, you know, he probably only got about 10, 15 years to live. And he was 59 years old at the time of his sentencing. So what you say, about 10, 15 years? I guess he figured, like, you know, I done had my share. You know what I mean? Like, when you go out there and say you wanna knock off the president, you know, you basically gotta say, man, you know, I done
gave it up.
I done been to my spot enough times. I done hit buffet. I done had my favorite meal enough times. I done had all these things enough times that I'm willing to just, you know, put it all out there.
So yeah, Nikki's been killed. Nikki thought she got the visa the other day, and then she got the.
Yeah, they said it was just a trick. It was just
a
a party favor, like, a commemorative party favor.
What is she doing? And now she's mad. Now she's like, everybody's gonna get it. She's gonna let that out on everybody. It's like, so the one thing,
she came in illegally.
Yeah, according
to her.
Yeah. The one thing though that really opened up doors is when they said Jay-Z and Pusha T was on the Epstein situation, and then now you see what Kanye came out with a whole rant the other day about Jay-Z
after
and Pusha
his
T.
apology.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
For real.
Come on, man.
A week.
You thought the apology? Yeah. This came out.
What he say?
This came out after that.
What he say, bro?
He's like, you know, that's like Jay-Z and Pusha T. They're all a part of that. They're all like, he just threw them all under the bus.
I did see something that Jay-Z was at Aaliyah. She was 15. Beyonce was 16.
Foxy Brown was 16.
Then Rihanna.
It was all 16. I mean, I'm telling you, Jay-Z, because like the same thing, it's that I want it bad. I want it like them. You know that? It's like you could be a lawyer. You don't know how many people's wanting to be like you. You know what I'm saying? You're just yourself naturally. You know what I'm saying? And these guys like Jay-Z and all these other guys, they wanted to be like, you know, Jay-Z wanted to be like Puff Daddy, you know?
Wow. Yeah, I know Dame Dash was like, everybody turned him down. Every label turned him down.
Yeah, that's Jay-Z. Jay-Z got that block on.
Yeah, remember he changed his style too. He had the that quick repeat stuff.
He couldn't get in. They was like, he's ugly, everything. So now you dealing with, I gotta make it. You know what I'm saying? When you got desperate people that, you know, that guy who you'll take advantage of that want to be in the group. So he gonna always be the one to pick you up. and he don't always going to be the one to buy the drink. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, there's those people that want to be involved so bad. You know what I mean? And these are the people who get took advantage of. These are the people now who have to work for these guys because they want it bad. They want to have that look. And the whole industry is looking like that. Like, to me, when people are celebrated within the United States, these are the people who I would say sold out, you know, cultures of people. You know what I'm saying? Because everything in the United States is about, you got to do it their way. You got to do it their way. Now the government is pushing the narrative. So now you got all these different elements that's been about race for so long, you know what I'm saying? And now it's coming straight to your face in the government now. Like, the government's like, yep, Jim Crow's back. And they got a commercial.
I mean, that's what I think. I think you have some people envisioning, like, that's the America that they envision. You know, and I tell people, bro, from like international travels, the African American is very unique on this planet. Like, wherever we go outside of this nation, we are revered. You know, it's like we're revered. It's like, man, like, that's one of y'all right there, like, from there. Because what I've encountered with other people of African descent, let's say in Israel, there's a lot of Ethiopians, but the ones that I've encountered in social settings, like, nobody in the circles that we were dealing with. So just scratch that. But at the clubs, you know, I see like a couple at the clubs, and they would like be just one amongst a group of, you know, Israelis and whatnot, and nobody, just kind of like no swag. It was just assimilation, right? Looking at the indigenous people in Australia, the Aborigines, looking at the indigenous people in New Zealand, just seeing like how the way imperialism and colonialism worked was different around the globe. And so when you talk about the colonialism in, let's take Australia, the way they treated the Aborigines is that they basically took their kids, they took their children and put them into like foster homes or with white Australian homes, and to raise them as Australian, and to raise them in that without a sense of cultural identity and who, like, we're raising you to be an Australian, like, to set aside those pagan or whatever pejorative term you want to put for the indigenous culture, like, assimilate into this culture. And so I saw that, you know, I would say probably second to brothers in the from the U.S., and I would include like the Caribbean folks in there if they are, you know, like back and forth with people that's over here in the States. But I would say the brothers from Great Britain, I would say, are probably second globally to, you know, as far as brothers and making an imprint, you know, where they are. But still, they don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers, but what they have done is, you know, as far as there's pollination. You know, they like everybody over there in England is interracial. Everything is interracial.
It's like
there's
the Midwest.
It's like over there, it's nobody's with their own. Like, you know, and I started seeing that in '95 when I first went there, because I was like, whoa, this is whatever. But as far as like going into the clubs, they had a music at that time. They called it jungle music, which later became drum and bass. But you know, I remember, you know, but it didn't travel. It didn't go and have all this stuff. But that was in '95. That was big. You know, jungle music. Yeah. Right. But even like we went over there, it was we came with a different. Like we come like we own the place. Like wherever we are, it's like we here. And we want y'all to know we here.
Yeah.
We here, and folks, they look at us and it's like whatever. And so, and I think we owe Dr. King, the civil rights movement, the leaders and whatnot who made a global impact and influenced so many people around. And then after that, where the attention was on us, we ended up taking the worst and making it the best. And we started coming with, Jesse Owens did his thing, in the 30s, going to Berlin and winning those gold medals right in front of Hitler as he's talking. It just messed up his whole vibe. His whole vibe.
That's what you said. Yeah. But you said, yeah.
You done messed up the whole master race and all this whole vibe. This man coming over here, he worn our shoes.
Doing it.
Doing it. And I think we got comfortable. And we've been taking victory laps for so long and not watching the people over here who are resentful as hell. They are resentful.
From the beginning, because that's what I put up these all these different revolts that happened going into the Civil War, and you got 1718 to 1858 was the Seminole War, where the Yamasees and Seminole were unconquered people. And you got the Dismal Swamp, where they had 40,000 people living, where they was unconquered people up until 1965. So now when the Civil War happens and now we become 13th to 14th Amendments, their warrior mentality to now fight had to be now, we have to build our own towns. We went to independence, and you got Wilmington, you got all these places for independence, and it was moving. But then now here come these guys with these people where you got Tulsa now. You got all these different, every time we try to get something on our own, they come in and destroy it,
Absolutely. I mean, which people don't want to see, sometimes you don't want to look in the mirror. You don't want to be reminded. You don't want to be reminded of the horror that you put a whole people through. And it wasn't just one person. One person can be evil, but it's another thing when you gotten the buy-in. It's why, I was watching my favorite movie the other day, Trading Places, and that scene. When that scene comes up, bro, cause you saw Mortimer the whole time. He showed you who he was the whole time. He wasn't in favor of this thing. He didn't want to be dealing with this guy. But every time he tried to, do something, Eddie Murphy was a little smarter than that. Oh, you tried to leave your money clip with all your bread or whatever, and then Eddie ran down all the stairs to meet them at the end. He was like, Mortimer left his money clip. And then his brother looks at him like, yeah, there you go, you tried or whatever. He's like, well, it's early. It's still early. It's still early. But it was that scene in the bathroom when Mortimer looks at his brother and was like, hold on, man, bro, we on the same team? Do you know what's going on right now? We're in danger of letting this man come in here and run our company. He's like, bro, is that what you really on? He's like, neither did I. It's like that. I think if any brother would be honest with himself, that probably hit him. Because we was watching, I know I was watching that movie the whole time thinking we had an ally in him, and that he was really believing that, if a person changes their environment and get the same access to, they can do as well, if not better. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, we proving them right. And then he just like, Nah, I'm just on some random.
Let's just have some fun with $1.
I'm just having some fun with it.
That's it.
Just having some fun with it. Yeah, so I wanted to give a shout out to Boston Richie, man, who says that the second they went to trial, I guess 6 months ago, was called to trial this time, and them boys just said, we ain't going forward. So shout out. You see with the belt, I'm sure Michael Irvin didn't.
That's it. He didn't get copyrighted,
patent it, or trademark it, or copyright it beforehand. But that's gonna be pretty popular.
He got his
spanking them.
Boston Richie's doing his birthday party at Goldfinger's up on University by my house this Sunday for Super Bowl after party.
Oh my goodness, man! I'm gonna have to go because this is the third person that told me that they Sunday night at Goldfinger is a vibe.
They just had Offset on Tuesday. They had Offset at Goldfinger on Tuesday, and they got Boston Richie on this Sunday. And it's right up the street from the house. I'm like, damn, it's right there. I'm gonna have to fall in there too.
Folks are saying that's a whole vibe.
They had your boy Gank. It started with Gank first. Gank was the first one 2 weeks ago. But when I seen that Offset was really in there, I said, oh. So
we leading up to Super Bowl. So when this is being aired on video mix, definitely looking at New England and Seattle. Seattle is favored by 4.5. So Teddy, make your official prediction for the game. It's taking place in a few hours.
I say Seattle, but I'm not going to be mad if the Patriots win because the Patriots put together something this year that's big, but I don't know if they're ready. Seattle is an impact team, and I think that they're ready to win, and that's how I feel. I feel that Seattle is definitely, every time they played everybody, they dominated the game, and Patriots.
Yeah, Seattle was pretty consistent all season.
Yeah.
It was pretty consistent all season.
It's going to be a good game.
New England's, I was at that game when they played the Dolphins here and just watching how Dolphins had a shot, but New England just pounded them.
Yeah.
They just came up with the necessary plays. Quarterback Drake May, 24 years old.
Yep, the youngest.
We shall see what he does, man. But 10 vacancies in the NFL after this season, and we lost 2 coaches. We lost the coach of the Falcons, and then Mike Tomlin resigned. So in these 10 spots, none were filled. So can you play this step? None of the vacancies were filled by a brother.
10 NFL head coaches' vacancies tied for a league record for a single offseason, and yet not a single black head coach was hired. It's a trend many began pointing out following reports from ESPN yesterday that the final vacancy has been filled, with Rams offensive coordinator Mike Loeffler taking the Arizona Cardinals job. Now, next season will begin with just 3 black head coaches in a league where roughly 70% of the players are black. ESPN columnist and on-air host Clinton Yates joins me to talk about this trend and what it means for the league. So, Clinton, the NFL made these rule changes to encourage hiring of more black coaches more than 20 years ago. But if you look at the numbers, they're the exact same today, the number of head coaches, as there were in 2003. Why is that?
Good afternoon, Selena. I think the thing is that this is not exactly a complex problem, but it also is not linear in the context of a rule is not going to help you with what is effectively human nature. And when you look at how the different things develop, where guys come from, as in coaches, how they're looked at by their owners, and most specifically, how many opportunities they're given to fail before they get another chance, that's where a lot of things fall off the most. You look at the former coach of the New England Patriots, who are now in the Super Bowl, Gerard Mayo, he got fired after 1 season. Exactly. And that's understandable in a certain context, but guys like that often don't get another chance. Meanwhile, you've got other different guys who have been coaches for some time or not a lot of time who get chances over and over and over again. So there's an element of, I don't want to just call it inherent bias, but that is something to consider when you're talking about who's looked at and who could be a leader and who could get a shot versus somebody who's considered, ooh, not good enough, not ready yet.
10 NFL head.
It's just scared. It's just fear. To me, it's got to start at the ownership first.
They talk about, speaking of that, they talk about when Mike Tomlin got interviewed by the Dolphins before he took the Pittsburgh job. and he was called 2 Hip Hop. He was 34 at the time.
Oh yeah.
It was called, and I think Stephen Ross may have been in his mid-70s. He's in his 80s now, but in his mid-70s at the time. And it was basically like, what do they have in common? Like, they don't have anything in common, and the person, is not going to put someone in charge of this huge investment that they don't have confidence in, that they, to know what's going on. And I think that's what the issue is that, maybe it'll change with their descendants, the next generation and the next folks coming through. I think probably like the quarterback, it was drips and drabs, but now, even though we don't have anybody in the Super Bowl, but definitely look at the number. I think we had over 10 starting quarterbacks season week 1 of the NFL. And more than probably more than that. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I do agree. I think the point that was best made was that on opportunities to fail. You know what I'm saying? Like, folks is just being like reshuffled. They being thrown around the league. All the coaches who suck in Miami working somewhere, they all get picked up somewhere, and it seems like that same thing is not going for the brothers. They one and done. And so you even have some coaches who are comfortable and are, have the title as assistant head coach, and their coordinators or position coaches, they rather stay where they are because, remember Ty Willingham in college, when Notre Dame hired him, and the big uproar was like, why they didn't get this man a whole recruiting class at Notre Dame? Like you gotta be able to go and recruit. Like, if you're playing other people's recruits right now. Like, these are not your players. Like, we should be able to see a recruiting class, like what you have to do, and it didn't work for him. So I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, oh no, that's just a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. But it's like, when you're allowed in those rare airs, that's why, as a people, that's why we always, sometimes we hate on other people, because we look from the outside saying, man, they're not ready. They're gonna mess it up for when the person really ready to come through. If they don't do a great job when they get in, because they're gonna mess it up for the next one if they don't do a great job. Because if you're not owning, now I would be interested to see what happens in Washington, since you have Magic Johnson in ownership. To see what happens with their next.
Redskins.
Yeah, well, now the Commanders.
The Commanders. Yeah,
the Commanders, but to see, like, what that decision is going to be.
That's what it has to be. The more the owners, once you get into an owner position, you can have more influence.
Yeah, especially, man. I mean, the whole head coach is cool, man, but I'm looking at the GM. Because the GM is the one that's going out there, that's doing, most of the stuff. This is an interesting thing, man. I can't do it. I can't do it.